welcome to another RSR. Tonight, I'm previewing and predicting the Leagues Cup 2024 final, Columbus Crew versus LAFC. This time, I'm doing this one on my own. So, it should be shorter, should be a good video. Easier work, I guess. I don't know. Prediction de la Leagues Cup Grand Finale. Columbus Crew contra LAFC. Big game coming up on Sunday night. Two, honestly, because we got the third place game, which we will talk about for a couple of minutes right now. Philadelphia Union versus Colorado Rapids. Philadelphia hosting Colorado. Philadelphia Union contra Colorado Rapids. I think Colorado's winning. I really do. I think they're going to win. They're going to get the CCL Champs Cup spot out of it. Easy work for, I won't say easy work for Colorado, but I don't see Philadelphia scoring more than 2 goals. I think Colorado could score on Philly as well. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think Colorado will win on penalties. So for me, I do believe in Colorado. I think the only reason they lost is because, they beat Mexican teams on their way to the semifinals. LAFC are just too much better, but Philly isn't. Philly's not as good as Juarez or Toluca or America even. So with that being said, I just don't really see it for Philly. They haven't been good this year. Tab Rebo's been hot recently, but he also just got suspended. For me, Colorado wins third place match, goes to the Champions Cup through it. That's probably their best chance, same as Philly. If Philly doesn't get this, they're probably SOL for next year's Champions Cup. Unless backfill is so crazy it falls down to Philly, but I don't know. Colorado, I think, is more likely for that to happen compared to Philly. So now, the MLS Cup final, Columbus Crew versus LAFC. Columbus Crew contra LAFC. Columbus Crew, best team in the league, second best team in CONCACAF. LAFC, they have the depth. They have 2 teams that could probably start a game and still win against most MLS sides. But Christian Oliveira for one more game. He's going to Toluca after the Leagues Cup final. You still have Mateusz Bogusz. He's probably staying now that Oliveira is leaving. Olivier Giroud, Kai Kamara, Denny Bouanga, Ilie Sanchez, Edward Atuesta, Timothy Tillman. You have a back 4 of Hollingshead, Murillo, Long, Palencia, Lloris in goal. There's so many players when it comes to LAFC that they're so deep. They're not the favorite because they didn't make a CONCACAF final and they didn't win MLS Cup last year. This is an MLS Cup rematch. Same place, same 2 teams, couple of changes. You have Chambost on the side of Columbus. You have Giroux on the side and Lloris on the side of LAFC. There's a couple of changes. John McCarthy will not be in goal for this one. Not that it was his fault that they lost. But they have a better goalkeeper, at least in regular time. Now, penalties, that could be different. Straight to penalties, by the way. They didn't change that. It will still be straight to penalties for both matches after 90 if there's a draw. Here's the thing. You have a team who has lots of depth, lots of great players versus a team who has good players, has a great manager, who isn't a fraud. Cherundolo's still on fraud watch for me. Okay? He still is. Yes, LAFC have been steamrolling their way to this final. Columbus has struggled their way to the final, but they've both made it. Their quality has come through, and they've both made it. Now, the question is, I think for me, Columbus is the favorite. I think Columbus is the favorite. They still have Cucho. They have Rossi. Diego Rossi looks amazing. Better than he did at LAFC. This is also against his former team, by the way. I don't know if we touched on that 8 months ago, but I'll touch on it now. Diego Rossi's former team he's playing against. Cucho Hernandez, one of the best strikers in the league as well. Chambost, if he starts, we'll see what it does. They have good players. DeJuan Jones might play into this one. He's very good. Oz Jackson, I'm not so sure. But I think he's a good player, Ozzie Jackson. I think he's a good player. It's crazy that St. Louis got rid of him, but they did. I think he's a good player. He's bound to break out at some point for Columbus. He's bound to. Like, I guarantee you, it may be the Leagues Cup, it may be the playoffs, but Ozzie Jackson will be a big name when it comes to Columbus's late season heroics, so to speak. Those legs are starting to sap a little bit. They're starting to get a bit heavy. And I think that's part of their struggling. Their struggle bus recently. Even though they've won, even though they've got to the final, they've looked like they've struggled. They had the bye. They went on vacation. They weren't practicing. They went on vacation to try to freshen up their legs because of the CCL, because of all the games from December, going to the MLS Cup, going deep in CCL, playing the Leagues Cup. Good thing they had the bye. All these games they've played, they went on holiday during their bye of the group stage, which LAFC had the year before. Didn't really end well for them. Didn't really end well for America or Pachuca either. This is the first time a team on a Leagues Cup bye made the final, by the way. LAFC couldn't do it last year. America couldn't do it this year. Pachuca couldn't do it last year either. So that's 1 out of 4. Leagues Cup's a crazy tournament. It really is. But Columbus has had very heavy legs for the past couple of games. You could tell that. I think you could also tell that they weren't really training. You could tell that they were recuperating. And you could tell that their legs are a bit heavy. And if they go to the final, great. I think they'll play their best game in the tournament during the final. I think now that they know they're there, now that they know they have 9 league games, actually, no, they have 2 in hand, so it's actually 11. They have 11 league games, this game, and possible playoffs. They know what they have. I think they also were being measured a bit. I don't think their struggles were exactly something that they meant to have, or I should say that they didn't expect to have. I think they meant to have those struggles. If they did make the final, great. They get a couple extra weeks off. If they make the final, they know what they have. And they know that they have to play 11 more games in the league. This game on Sunday. They have to play at least, they won't have a wild card game, so that's 5 playoff games at least, if not 6, because that series could go to 3, because their first round series last year went to 3. So 6 playoffs. Let's just say 6 playoffs. That's 18 games left this year. And their offseason's going to be short if they go all the way. Maybe they knew what they were doing. Maybe they didn't want to play this whole tournament, but they did. They did enough to play the whole tournament. Here we are. They know what they need. I think they will play their best game. Yes, they've looked a bit leggy. That's bound to happen. I think with the situation they're in, that's bound to happen. This is not normal for an MLS team to make the CCL final and still have a great season. Look at Toronto in 2018. They made the CCL final. They damn paid for it. They damn paid for it. You could say LAFC in 2023, their season wasn't so bad, but they bottled the biggest moments. They had a pretty good season overall, but they were a bit lower in the West. They weren't out of the playoffs by any means, but they bottled Open Cup, Champions Cup, Champions League at the time, MLS Cup, Leagues Cup. They bottled it all. But it wasn't as bad as Montreal, Toronto, or RSL. And Columbus is taking that even further to where CCL final, Leagues Cup final, possibly another MLS Cup final, possibly still getting the Shield. Like, this is truly mind-blowing for an MLS team who's gone this deep. Seattle, let's not forget Seattle, who actually won the damn thing, missed the playoffs for finally the first time. Yeah, it was either the first or second time, but they didn't make it in 21, or did they? Or did they go out early in 21? Either way, Oh, no. Yeah, it was 22, I think was the first time. So they finally missed the playoffs, and they won the CCL. So may have been 2 playoff misses in a row. I'm a little bit fuzzy on that. I feel like it was 2 in a row. I don't know why, but either way, not something they normally do. Missed the playoffs. So, you have that. Columbus Crew have some leggy play during this tournament. LAFC's got a deep team, but they really do. Some of the LAFC or Columbus goals against were against the press. LAFC is very good at pressing. If they play that instead of playing into the Crew like they did the MLS Cup final, this could be a bloodbath towards LAFC. I think it's 50-50. I think this game is 50-50. Either team could win. It could be a bloodbath. It could be a war. It could be a bloodbath. Either way, Columbus could bloodbath LAFC again like they did earlier this year, the 5-1 in LA. LA could come back and say, oh, you 5-1'd us in our house, we'll 5-1 you in your house because we'll make you give the ball away on the press. We're going after Sheberko. Bloodbath. Easy. Or it could be a war. We could go to penalties. I don't know. The funny thing is, even if I do predict, I don't know. This is one of the most hard to call games I've ever had to call. And anybody, really, yeah, Columbus is the favorite. They've won MLS Cup. Some people say, oh, LAFC is the favorite. They got Girault. You don't have a consensus favorite. You have the 2 best teams, arguably, in my book. America's chopped liver. I don't care. They were horrible in this tournament. They lost to Chelsea. They lost to Chelsea. Chelsea. Before the tournament. They also lost to Villa, I think. Or did Villa beat? Either way. They did lose to Chelsea, which is disrespectful. Put your head back down. They were chopped liver. They were never the best team. Pachuca look like crap right now. They're not the best team. Some of the best Mexican teams that people were scared of coming into the tournament look like chopped liver. Looked like chopped liver. And America's lucky they've struggled to the quarterfinals. They shouldn't have. St. Louis should have had their ass. I don't know about Atlas, but St. Louis should have had their ass. I'm still mad about that one. But if Colorado could do it, St. Louis could have. I'm mad. I really am. At least on that end. But here's the thing. The 2 best teams in this tournament were always Columbus and LAFC. Now, did I predict America to beat LAFC to get to the final before the tournament and before the knockouts? I did do that. But I didn't think they'd stay chopped liver. You know? I thought, they'll wake up. They'll wake up. No, they didn't. LAFC went and rolled people. Even if America did get to the semifinal, LAFC would have still rolled them. That's my point. I don't care if they would have made the semifinal. LAFC would have still rolled them. It's just obvious that Colorado got rolled. So, with that being said, LAFC is a deep team. They're tough. They're good on the press. They're good trying to get the ball out of the back and picking it up and causing mistakes, especially with the way the Crew's played recently. That's definitely a thing that worries me. That's a thing that worries me is that the Crew could give up something of that ilk multiple times, maybe not just once, but maybe twice. Columbus has still got a good offense, and LAFC does too. Goalkeeping, I'm going to lean towards Columbus. I think Schulte right now is better than Lloris. Now, especially on penalties. But I think Schulte is better right now than Lloris right now, in my opinion. Defensively, I'm going to lean towards... Only because of Mo Farsi, Columbus Crew. Rudy Camacho and Sheberko kind of scare me. But I'll lean towards the Crew. Midfield, I'm going to lean towards LAFC. The forward line, it's a wash. It's a wash. They're both tied, really. For me, I'm going to say this goes to pens. I think we're going to get a war. A 3-3 draw, a goal fest, nonetheless. We're going to penalties, And we know Schulte's better at penalties. Columbus Crew wins on penalties 6-5. The first team to screw up is going to be the one to lose the tournament. Simple. So, 3-3 draw. Penalties is 6-5 Columbus Crew. Columbus Crew wins the League's Cup. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a fight. But I think Columbus are the ones to go get it done and win the League's Cup and take it to Columbus, Ohio, and earn that Champions patch for next year and get the round of 16 berth in the Champions Cup. LAFC are already in, and they will join, in my prediction, Colorado in round 1. With that being said, there you go. If you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send some chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put us in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I'll see you tomorrow for a live watch along and review, 7:30 Central, for Houston Dynamo FC versus Toronto FC. MLS is back. 8 more matches for Toronto. 9 for most teams. 11 for Columbus. But there you go. Sunday live for the third place game of Philly versus Colorado. Live in RSR for the final. Columbus versus LAFC. That's what we got for the next 2 days. 3 lives, 2 reviews. Should be a fun one. And there you go. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See you later.